Any woman who's ever politely turned a man down at a bar and then had that same man turn around and call her an effing bitch already knows exactly who ICE agent Jonathan Ross is. He's a weak MAGA man with no training, no restraint, and an ego so fragile that a woman failing to move fast enough for him turned into a death sentence for her. January 7th, Minneapolis, Renee Good, 37 years old. She's a wife, a mother, a poet. She stopped in the street with neighbors who came out to watch ICE run an operation in their own neighborhood. She was not blocking a raid. Renee was not attacking anyone. Window down, calm, making eye contact, telling the agent circling her car, "I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you," in a calm voice. Because Renee was composed. Another agent orders her out of the car. She turns the wheel to drive away, and instead, Ross plants himself in front of the car by her driver's door and fires 3 times. One shot goes through her head near the temple and out the other side. He unalived her right there on the street in front of her wife and in front of her neighbors. And 3 seconds later, before her SUV even finished rolling to a stop with her body still in the driver's seat, the tape catches this ICE officer said next, "Effing bitch," except he said the whole word. Not drop the weapon, not subject down, not calling for help. Bitch. The exact word he had loaded and ready before he even needed a badge or a gun to use it. I mean, look at the order of operations. He unalived her first and then he called her a bitch. Not the other way around. Like if you're in struggle and fight and you call somebody that in the heat of it and then like you're, but afterwards? That sequence tells a whole different story. When a man hurts someone and immediately reaches for an insult, he's not describing the victim. They're rewiring her in real time into someone who deserved it. If she's just a woman who asked a question and didn't move fast enough, he's a murderer standing over a body. But if she's a bitch, she's the one who caused it. Again, blame women. He needed her to be the villain in the next 5 seconds, or he'd have to be the one. So he built her a new identity out of a single word, one that let him walk away from that car still thinking of himself as the good guy who had no choice. Psychologists have a name for this. Albert Bandura at Stanford called it moral disengagement. And one of its core mechanisms is dehumanizing and blaming the person you just harmed so your own conscience never has to clock in. It's the same mental trick soldiers use to describe enemies as animals, the same trick an abuser uses when he says, "Look what you made me do." ICE agent Ross didn't have the discipline to hold it together in that moment. He had a tantrum with a badge and a pew-pew because she didn't respond fast enough to his demands. Same pattern as a grown man who can't absorb a woman telling him no without reaching for the nearest weapon. And a man who loses that much control that fast doesn't get to call himself a professional. He gets called what he is, an emotional baby who happened to be carrying a firearm. You know that word regardless of the psychology behind it. If you've ever said no thank you to a man at a bar and watched his whole face rearrange itself around that one syllable, you knew Jonathan Ross before Minneapolis ever heard his name. He wasn't defending himself from a threat when he pulled that trigger. He was punishing a woman for not folding on command, and then he used the oldest trick in the book to make it her fault. Kristi Noem got asked about it on live television. Jake Tapper played her the tape and asked if that was Ross's voice. She smiled. She said, "I can't determine which one it is," she said, "but it could be." A woman is dead with a bullet through her skull, and the Secretary of Homeland Security's face did something close to amusement. Amusement on national TV. So disgusting. I mean, this is what law and order looks like when the woman doesn't comply fast enough. It's not about the car. It's not about the badge. It's about what happens to a woman the second a man decides she owes him deference and she doesn't deliver it on schedule. Every woman watching this already had his number saved under a different name in their phone. And for you fellow survivors out there, I see you. I know how traumatizing this is to see these men in power. So follow for more, like this video, and share it with the woman in your life who's been called that word for saying no and shrug it off like it was nothing. I see you, queens. If you made it this far, drop an ice cube and a fire emoji in your comment. Maybe we can start melting some ice around here. I really appreciate you all. I mean, even you hostile Grinches on here. Love conquers hate. Much love.